Welcome to the second day of BalCCon2k16. First lecture will be about Makers Novi Sad, presenting by Nenad Cetic. If you have any questions, you have a microphone right there and ask.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. A lot of makers in this room, I must say. But maybe some of you don't know us yet. My name is Nenad Cetic. I am with the RTRK Institute for Computer-Based Systems from Novi Sad. And I will try to briefly show you where we are right now. We introduced ourselves a year ago on BalCCon 2015. And we did a lot, I think. You will be the judge by looking at the presentation. And we have nice activities outside, so we'll talk about that in the second part of the presentation. So who we are, what we do, and what is this all about? We will talk about the famous Maker Manifesto, of course, and we will show activities from this community and what we did with a bunch of young makers. Some of them are sitting proudly in this room. And we are also part of some of the worldwide communities. And for the last part of our presentation, we will talk about our toys. Hardware, software, firmware, and what we are actually trying to do here. So, first of all, famous Mark Hatch. Recent news, he's a former CEO of Tech Shop. So we are looking what is going to be the next kind of tech shop thingy that this guy does. But for some of you that doesn't know about the makers movement, it's very strong in America. This Mark Scheck character made a bunch of revolutionary stuff in America, pretty much opening by opening maker spaces in Bay Area mainly. And he is also an author of a famous Maker Manifesto book, which outlines a few kind of key principles of making and being a maker. What does that mean, actually? So first of all, of course, is make. We are all trying to make something, anything, pretty much from soldering, programming, where we are for the most part, but also knitting or painting or art or whatever you think that is stuff that you're interested in and you want to make something, you're a maker. The really important part of the making community and making body is to share. So whatever you're trying to make, share with everybody, share your knowledge, and share your making and maker's experience, so that everybody can become a better maker and everybody is having fun doing that. Of course, we all learn through all our life, and by learning in Maker Manifesto, we are trying to always come up with a better solution, trying to make a good way of doing things and better things, and maybe discover some mistakes and never to do it again and stuff like that. But the learning is also a part of the process. And important aspect is, of course, a lot of fun and teamwork. So team and a lot of fun and all that mixed together will probably end up being one of makers community all over. So in this lecture, of course, we are focusing on makers NS, how we call it, but this is a little bit wider, since now we have makers from Sombor and makers from Zrenjanin also. So it's an open community with a free membership. All you need to do is to go to Meetup and sign up. Our mission is to discover and research all the new technologies. We are mostly concentrated about technologies around IoT, but we are not limited to that, you will see. And we want to share that knowledge. We want to share this experience with you, and we are welcoming everybody that is willing to make. Of course, to make some things easier, we also registered a Maker Association, but a little bit more about that in a couple of slides. So this is a famous photo, first meetup. Like everything else, it starts in a bar, of course, with a couple of drinks. A few friends gather around the similar topics and similar interests, came together and said, okay, yeah, let's make a movement and try to organize a maker community. And since then, we also celebrated our birthday, you can see by the date below if you can read it. Recently, so we are young, we don't have too much in a calendar-wise experience, but we've been through a lot of fun things, and we organize a lot of events. I learned about this a little bit later, not from the very beginning, and soon I realized, yeah, this is it. I don't have to go to America to be a part of the Make community there. Here it is in Serbia, and I immediately joined. I was really inspired by Zoran's speech on BalCCon a year ago, and this is me on a Texas Instruments Day, presenting what I did with my students and faculty, and talking about some technologies and sharing some knowledge and some data. The next event was about Cypress Day by Jan Dolinaj, sitting over there. Then we learn about cool technology, Cypress. I will share what I learned from Jan a little bit later. And a bunch of other activities as well. So event with a huge crowd here about photon, particle photon technology, and regional collaboration with some friends from Romania. This was a meetup in Zrenjanin. After that, there was a Arduino Day, the worldwide celebration of Arduino, or Genuino in Europe. We organized a nice exhibition in one of the high schools that is part of this community, and it was a lot of fun. You will see a couple more pictures from that day. Then came World IoT Day. We also presented some of our work, and you will see usually a lot of young people here. So this is the key aspect. This is the main point for me, at least, while I'm here, trying to share and trying to teach some new guys being makers, a little bit about programming, a little bit about electronics and all the things that we are trying to do for our day jobs. We are spilling that over to these young little bright and very, very talented heads. And this is a picture from one meetup in Sombor, hacking robots, where we played with controlling motors and controlling some robots. Then again with the IoT, talks about Intel Edison technology and Samsung Arctic Cloud technology. So you can see that it's not always only the talk, it's sort of a workshop where we're trying to teach somebody about the technology and how to do something with it. Then, as icing on the cake, good friend of ours, Borko, came and introduced 3D printing technology to the makers community in Novi Sad. And we had a really good event with learning about 3D printing with some of the friends from Romania, showing printers in action, of course, but also learning about all this from very experienced guys. And we have a bunch of stuff on our roadmap. Microsoft Synergy is coming up, and we are planning some other workshops that you can see. I hope that we will do a lot of new cool stuff and continue with this kind of energy with all the things that we come up so far. So very important aspect I already outlined is this young people, and we are organizing sort of a weekly get-together workshops with 3 high schools here. Actually, it's the second high school, Laza Kostic from Novi Sad, introduces some of the stuff that we did earlier inside of general kind of classes and lectures that kids are having from informatics. So instead of programming in some Pascal on desktop computer, they are also programming on Arduino and can see a physical manifestation of their program with some sensors on LEDs or some step promoter or something like that. And we are very proud that high school from technical high school from Sombor joined our movement. They had a really strong school for robotics there, and with their help and all the bright kids coming to our movement is much stronger in this respect. To help everybody achieve this goal, we are trying to put all the facilities in people's hands, and this is the example. We created a makerspace where kids can come and grab the sensors, controllers, and something that we have in our arsenal and play with it, make something. So this is very cool and very important. It's not super formalized yet, so we are still looking for a better location or maybe more convenient location about this. But energy is here. You can see it on the pictures. Kids are there and making something and having a lot of fun. Maker schools were part of some major events in the regions about this kind of technology, Synergy 2015, IoT Day in Zagreb, and IoT Week 2016 in Belgrade as well, where they were being interviewed by national TV and giving, who was talking among them? So we have a real young ambassador of this movement talking to a national TV channel and promoting making, so what can be better than that? This is a picture from a famous Arduino Day. You can see a lot of smiling faces, And on your right, you see the example of how we do stuff and how we try to teach. This is the half of this crowd is never touched Arduino before, and the other half is our older, quote unquote, older members. And while a lecturer is explaining what to do and what is the exercise, more experienced guys are working together with less experienced guys and helping them going through exercises. And this is really all about making a collaboration and teamwork, and everybody gets happier with the results that way. So then our worldwide communities and impact, we are members of something that is called Hackster, and Hackster Live movement is a worldwide community where people all around the world are trying to publish projects and share knowledge and technologies, and we are receiving some of the funds and pretty much hardware and toys and promotional material from them. And also we've been part of European Maker Week. This is a one organization coming from a big make movement helped by a UE Commission. So what is Hackster Live? You can learn about it going to this web address, Hackster.io. Pretty much this is a hub. Somebody maybe heard for the older version of this called Hackaday. And this is similar, but more organized about making and that kind of activities in community. And 100+ location all around the world with 100+ ambassador that are trying to promote new technologies and trying to be helpful for all the developers, and community from this is, I don't know, 60,000 maybe now. This is on the whole slide right now. So it's becoming bigger and bigger as we speak. A lot of cool and vibrant activities there. We are among others with a special help and graduates from our president Zoran, who is a first Hackster ambassador, came on this worldwide map along with other countries. You can see the Spain and Netherlands and Mexico and a lot of makers from India and all over the world. So it's also about the sponsorship here. So we are receiving direct support through Hackster from major players in this arena, like Microsoft, Amazon, Arduino, NXP, and Intel, SparkFun, Adafruit. And through Hackster, we have access to all the latest and greatest, and even pre-releases of some of the technologies. Pretty much, Hackster community was the first and only community that got access to some latest technologies from Amazon and stuff like that. So you will see some more details when we talk about technology here. So the Maker Week is part of this movement, is sponsored by a famous Maker Fair. This is where we meet with Mark Heck's crew and all that energy coming from a big maker community. And this is the 1 week of promotion, being a maker, and again, we are ambassadors here, to try to organize in Europe a lot of events during 1 week to actually promote making and to be a part of this community and actually to celebrate making. So you can see a lot of density, of course, near the home of Arduino in Italy, but 3 spots are there as well in Serbia, Sombor, Belgrade, and Novi Sad. These are the events that we organized during this week. Special thanks to Polyhedra and Borko, and special thanks to Tilda Center for one event, and of course gratitude for all the people from a maker community from Novi Sad and Zrenjanin and Sombor, with all the events and lectures that we gave, and also exhibitions from European Week. So this was something from this European Week. First picture is from high school from Novi Sad, where our friends exhibition their work, and pretty much it's open door, everybody could come and see what they're making. You will have a similar experience in a hall after this talk. You will see some of their projects, and you can talk to them and learn more about that. You can see another event on the left where we gave first class again for a little bit older crowd back in the Zinc conference, where we also promoted our movement. This was the quick hands-on exhibition and workshop from about particle, which we'll talk about a little bit more in detail afterwards. So these are the main association members. All the names here are the part of the association, the formal association maker. This is just for having something on a paper that we can organize some administrative work here. And I think I got the ordering right to chronologically show people that are joining, how things are becoming massive. And then the second part of this presentation is going to be about the technologies. We cannot talk about makers if we don't mention Arduino, of course. Who played with Arduino here? Or maybe who never played with Arduino, raise their hand. I don't want to bother you with details about the technology, because it's really, really famous. But this is sort of an honorary mention, because everything in the maker community started with this tiny chip. It was not so tiny in this version, but now new versions are in a smaller technology. And what is the key aspect of this? It's not the technology is so great. It's not that they have a best tool chain in the world. It's not that you're going to be on a cutting, bleeding edge of a technology. It's about the community. So community from Arduino is sharing the knowledge. Pretty much any idea that comes to your mind, you can Google it out and find a really quick and good point to start your project, and then tweak it and share back with the community. Why is it so successful, in my opinion, is because of this thing on the screen over here. This is called Sketch, and it's really, really simple. So you basically have to program two functions. One is setup, which is going to be executed when you turn on your Arduino, and other is pretty much endless loop where you're programming your programming logic. And this is really easy to understand, and having the lectures in few hours, you are going to be Arduino fan and make your Blink LED project or something more advanced really, really, really quick. Then, of course, there is this era with everything going wireless, and Arduino has a nice answer to that, which is this Maker 1000. This is a smaller version, as I said, packing the Wi-Fi chip as well, and you can see this is Cortex M0, 32-bit processor, blah, blah, blah. It has integrated battery charger, so you can make your device battery operated if you like, power management. But if you buy this thing and you're experienced with the old Arduino, watch out, it's 3.3 volts, so don't burn it immediately. Also, this is another well mentioned. I think everybody can recognize what this is. This is, of course, famous Pi, Raspberry Pi, Nyam Nyam. This started as a personal computer for everybody that you can buy really cheap and make your personal computing on the go. But it turned out to be a really, really useful tool for making stuff. So you have a really powerful processor here running Linux, and you can do a lot of stuff. What we do, kids made a school bell in high school. So now, instead of a little bit uglier sound, now they have a nicer version of the ring, and playing the MP3 on their corridors in the high school, marking when classes begins and when it ends, and when break begins, even more importantly. The recent Raspberry is Raspberry Pi 3. What is new with this? It's Bluetooth Low Energy integrated into Raspberry Pi. So now you can have your smart hub talking to internet through Wi-Fi and talking to your Internet of Things devices over Bluetooth in your room, for instance. So again, they are putting this margin really, really low, and maybe even not making profit of it by making it $35. There are more advanced kits at up to 100, where you have a nice casing and some sensors and stuff like that. But the original development board is $35, which is also amazing for a personal computer like that. Then back to TI. This is CC200, how they call it, Simple Link. It's a Wi-Fi chip. We played with it. It has an ARM core and a full spectrum of all the things, all the bells and whistles that you need to make stuff. All the peripherals and interconnections are there. I2C, even I2S, and PVM, ADC, and all that, on a chip where you have a Wi-Fi as well. So you immediately are connected to LAN or internet, and you can make Internet of Things with that. A huge help is, of course, software stack, which comes with a secure socket layer also, which is pretty much standard these days for going to the internet and making stuff access through the internet. And it's easy to program networking on this device, but also some microcontroller regular stuff comes off the shelf as well. It's TI's solution for IoT. It has a nice launchpad connector, so it can be extended. We extended it with a couple of these, what they call booster extension boards, and with one of them, we created a wireless microphone node to be able to record and stream wirelessly and collect some audio data on a server to process it and stuff like that. So then the famous Cypress. This is a little bit weirder but cooler technology. It's called PSOC, or Programmable System on Chip. Why they call it like that, we are not sure, but I think it's marketing. System on chip means that this is a heterogeneous architecture where you have your programming core. From the left, it's a low power device, 8-bit core, which they call PSOC1. Coming over to PSOC 5, where you have M3 processor, which is really powerful. But what is so special about this is that it combines conventional microcontroller and processor stuff with something that is also known as programming logic, or somebody is maybe familiar with FPGA. Plus some cool analog electronics also packed there. So you can create op amps and even voltage references, mixers, digital filters, and all that inside of this chip without processing on a microcontroller. So everything that you do here is within this digital system and analog system, and then you can design your reaction to some sensor, to some events, for instance, and turn off your microcontroller and be really low power like that. So really neat technology, comes with a pretty amazing documentation that we saw, and some good toolings. It's programmed graphically, which is appealing to some folks, especially appealing to somebody that worked on this kind of projects where you are building logic gates and that kind of stuff, which is maybe the only way that effectively that you can draw and build stuff. But of course, it's a downside for the makers. It's a lot of complexity for somebody that is not so experienced with electronics. So somebody coming to programming from electronics side can maybe fancy this more than just programming. But again, it's really neat technology. We want to mention it because we build some cool stuff with that as well. We cannot go around famous low-cost Wi-Fi coming from Tensilica. This is really, really famous chip. Popular almost as Raspberry Pi and Arduino, but for the Wi-Fi, which is really low cost. And again, gives you a full stack of Wi-Fi connectivity and a lot of open source projects are based on this chip. So there are really good community and on open source material that you can find. It's decently powerful, so you can make a good projects with it, and you can be amazed how people are using it because it's so tiny. They're hiding it in a lot of stuff, and this is really enabling first cut of this IoT business that is happening worldwide. Then, being a maker, I learned a really neat trick from my colleagues. This also supports a sketch or programming this through Arduino tooling, so you can start your program by writing setup and loop, and pretty much you're connected to internet and making connected stuff on a really kind of a small or couple lines of code. But library underneath is really powerful. It has everything that you can think of, and it works. We tried almost everything from this, and it really works. It's faster to connect to internet than TI, for instance, which is kind of coming from a bigger company. You can expect being more kind of sleek and neat. It has a new version, ESP32, came recently. It's not part of these slides. That's how recently it came. So we're going to definitely look into that and see how cool or how better it is in comparison to predecessor. It's really good for making because there are some platforms that are based on this chip, VMOS and Node MCU, for instance, that are really powerful and off-the-shelf kind of support and building the complex things. And we are having a lot of fun playing with these things. Then one of our favorites, again, everything is favorite. We cherish our toys too much, maybe. This is Particle Photon, started as a Kickstarter. They have various devices as well. It's cheap in comparison to some others, but the trick is that it's a full stack solution. So it comes with cloud support as well, and they have even 2G, 3G modem version of this platform, so you can be connected even without Wi-Fi. Hardware, I don't want to go into too much details, running out of time a little bit, is also powerful and a lot of pins that you can have in use, and it's of course breadboard compatible, so it's easy for making stuff. But here's the critical part. This is the cloud support for this. So when you buy a device, you also buy both access to their cloud services, so you can connect your particle device to internet immediately. It's programmed via internet, so it's what they call over-the-air update. That's how you flash it. So you have to use an Android application to connect to it and tell it which Wi-Fi you want it to connect. It remembers up to 5, I think, Wi-Fis. And then you just have to turn it on, and it's accessible over internet anywhere it is, and you can reflash it, reprogram it, and play with it. It comes with a powerful cloud support, with a powerful API. Of course, authentication, security is there. But what is neat is that you can build really easily functions and variables and react to events with a publish subscriber pattern, and look at the stream of events, and even work with the webhooks to make something more advanced. Then famous LoRa. We played with it a little bit. This is when you don't have an infrastructure and you want to build your own. Some of our members coming from amateur radio world are really fancying this. We too. It's really powerful. It says that it's having a range in urban area over the 5 kilometers. We measured that in urban area, but with wrong antenna actually, and got around 2 kilometers. So you can see that if it's big enough, our experiments where Zoran is driving a car around the city and testing the equipment, how good it is, and is it still alive or not. Recent toy came from Intel called Edison. It's really, really powerful, and it's becoming more and more popular in the makers community. It comes with a XDK, which is a little bit weird acronym if you ask me, but it's cross-platform developer kit. And it works with latest low energy Bluetooth, of course, and comes with a good documentation and good development board. So the actual chip and how they sell it is this thing in the left bottom corner. The rest is development board. So when you develop your IoT with a full stack, and it can run Linux as well. So it's really tiny and can be packed into a tiny design. They are trying to say that it's designed for wearables. Maybe it's too powerful for wearables. You will have to have a backpack with a battery, I think, for this thing. But if you put it in sleep often, maybe it can be a wearable as well. Then we'll briefly go over some of the cloud technology and what we are doing with them. We cannot do that without mentioning Azure and some of the projects that we did with Azure. It comes with a really powerful tool set. One of them is IoT Hub, where you can connect and manage millions of your devices. Then it kicks in the stream analytics, where you can analyze big data and in real time process it. Of course, Amazon is a powerful cloud platform where storage comes. Then something they call app services and logic apps, which are pretty much glue logic and integration parts of this ecosystem, where you can integrate it with other stuff. And a really interesting part is Power BI, where you can easily visualize your data and create a dashboard from data collected from IoT device. This is a little bit of an overview of the architecture, where devices on the left are connected to IoT Hub, and you can see the workflow of data here coming to stream analytics, and then event hub handling the events, filtering them and normalizing them and doing other stuff. Then integration with this web jobs, web apps. You can build your web or mobile apps. And you can, of course, because it's Microsoft, it's always organized and open to enterprises. You can incorporate that in the ERP and CRM and that kind of a larger business processes. The second player in this game is, of course, Amazon. It's a really big platform and cloud platform, really popular for a lot of web-based development and production. They have their own IoT services, Amazon Web Services for IoT. This is an overview of this service where you can easily define your device and connect to it via a REST API. And then Amazon Power kicks in and making it really easy and powerful in the same time for you to organize your data and react on events coming from devices. Even for the problems with the connectivity where you don't have a good connection, they have a built-in support with shadowing what is the state of your device, and when it comes online, it updates itself, and that way you don't lose data via lousy connection. You can pretty much define your rules and rule actions with clicking and defining what will happen in this very powerful ruling engine, but of course storing data or integration with mobile and web apps comes naturally. This is the important part of being or example of important part being a Hackster community. This is Amazon Echo device or this Alexa service where we had a exclusive access to this device even though we are outside of US. So it's for controlling by voice. You can play with it in a hall and it's open to program and make some Alexa skills or enhance your experience with it. This is in contrast to some other technologies. These skills are key important because your code can be downloaded to cloud and your code can interact with recognized text, and also your code can play back text or playback voice to user using these services. Very neat and very powerful. Then third player is Samsung. They announced it a long time ago and came third, but they are really neat. So this platform is really easy to use and very powerful. You can define your data and have a connectivity with your device in a couple of minutes. And there are two aspects of this, what I call Arctic Cloud platform, where you define your data, you are actually defining your devices, and then you switch on the other side, and you immediately can go into production and share your definition of devices with somebody else that will use this device. So it's, again, a really easy to interact via REST of web or WebSockets. We played with it with Intel Edison, and it's powerful because it's easy to use and easy to go to production. They have a nice tiering of prices where you can pretty much by makers for free use this trial and testing tools to build your own IoT solution. More about that you can learn, of course, from the TIC. I will be a little bit shorter in this moment, running out of time. Then, finally, 3D printing. Oh, Borko just left, preparing probably some of the stuff for you to play. This is what we have in our arsenal, PrintBot. It's simple Cartesian printer using this PLA filaments, and we are starting to learn about this, and finally we can make our robots and hands and all that kind of stuff that we need to be able to physically make things and make them move. Polyhedra and Borko are there in the hall for you, so you can play with them after this talk. And we had also friends from Romania announced that they're come. I'm not sure if they're just late or again having problems with customs like the time before. But maybe we will see this thing on the right, which is a different kind of printer called Delta printer, really interesting technology. So pretty much that will be all of our toys, or most of our toys that we play with. I hope that you find it interesting, and I hope that you would like to be a maker after this talk, and maybe we sparkle somebody's idea in their head. We are there to help for sure. So this is a BalCCon, of course, so I changed the question here is what will you make? So it's up to you to be a maker. There is a community. It's live. It's over a year long. We announce ourselves on the BalCCon, and you see that we are really active, and we are there to help, there to have fun with you guys. That will be all. For more information, there are links. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.